Well, good evening, Sumter School District boys and girls, and welcome to another evening of Reading with the Superintendent. I always like to have guests read with me, even though reading is fun, even independently, but I like it more when I have someone who enjoys reading with me. And tonight, I'm going to allow our very special guest to introduce herself to you. So good evening, Miss Lois. How are you?
Good evening, Dr. Martin-Knox. I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you for joining us this evening, and I appreciate you wanting to be here to read to our wonderful children.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you take the opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. I'm Lois Horne, and I work in the business office. I do bookkeeping, I do accounting, and I do budget prep.
Well, that means you like numbers.
I do.
It means you kind of like math.
Yeah, I do.
Well, this serves as a reminder that math is important while we're reading, but math is also important so they can acquire a job similar to yours when they grow up.
That's awesome.
So they need to know their numbers.
Exactly.
They need to know their numbers. Well, this evening I'm excited, and I thank you for selecting the book that we're going to read tonight. We're reading Raggedy Ann, How Raggedy Ann Got Her Candy Heart. So let me ask you a question first. Do you like reading Raggedy Ann books? Have you ever read one before?
I did. I love Raggedy
Ann. Have you ever had a Raggedy Ann doll?
I did not. No, I have not.
You didn't?
No.
I did. And I'll tell you, it's probably one of the saddest days. And if my mother is watching this, she'll say, yep, I cried because I lost my Raggedy Ann doll.
I'm sure that broke your heart.
It did. It did. It broke my heart. But we're going to rekindle the relationship as we read that today. And this is written by Johnny Gruhl. So I'm ready to read. Are you?
I'm so ready.
So let's read with some excitement and have fun as we read Raggedy Ann, How Raggedy Ann Got Her Candy Heart. So before we begin, we need to make sure everyone is paying attention. So 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me.
1, 2, all eyes on you.
Let's begin to read. One day, Marcella came into the nursery. You're invited to a tea party, she told the dolls. We can sit outside and watch them in painting the house. Have you ever had a tea party with your dolls?
I did.
Yeah, I used to have a tea party with my dolls and my Raggedy Ann, but I also played school a lot. Ready to come? All right. All right. Good catch. Good catch.
Thank you. Marcella brought all the dolls outside. They sat in red chairs at her table under the old apple tree. They drank lemonade with grape jelly in it, which made it a beautiful lavender color. They ate cream puffs and tiny little cookies with powdered sugar. The sun was shining and a soft breeze was blowing. While Marcella and the dolls were having their tea party, men were painting the house. One of the painters saw Raggedy Ann. Look at that doll, he said. She's a daisy.
She's a daisy. I wonder what it means that she's a daisy.
Okay.
She's a daisy, huh? Raggedy Ann didn't notice the painters because she was watching some boys who were flying a kite. One boy lifted the kite above his head while another held a ball of string. Suddenly, a breeze took the kite from the first boy. The kite climbed high in the air, then it fell down. It needs a longer tail, one boy shouted. Let's tie Raggedy Ann to the tail. Uh-oh. Marcella suggested. I know she would enjoy a trip away up in the sky. The boys were delighted with this new idea. So Raggedy Ann was tied to the tail of the kite, and Raggedy Ann was happy too. She thought she might like to be up high. Boy, I don't know about tying a Raggedy Ann. That's probably what happened to my Raggedy Ann. That's probably what happened. Someone tied her to a kite and she flew away.
She never came back.
She never came back. She never came back. And my mother purchased me another doll to replace her. She purchased me a Cabbage Patch doll.
I had one of those too.
I had 3.
This time the kite rose straight in the air, and Raggedy Ann was way, way up and far away. How Raggedy Ann enjoyed being up there. She could see for miles. The house and children were tiny, and her shoe-button eyes couldn't even spot the other dolls. Just then there was a great puff of wind, and Raggedy Ann heard a ripping sound. It was the rag that tied her to the kite. Down below, Marcella was getting restless. "Will you please pull the kite down now?" she asked the boys. "I want Raggedy Ann." The boys didn't want Raggedy Ann to come down, but the wind puffed again and the rag tore. Oh no.
I don't know what, I'm afraid to ask what's going to happen.
Uh-oh.
I hope she's okay. That poor Ann. Oh, I'm afraid. Uh-oh. Raggedy Ann went sailing through the air as the wind caught in her skirts. The kite began darting and swooping to the ground. It landed in the apple tree, and as the boys, Marcella, and all the other dolls watched, Raggedy Ann flew out of the sky and fell into a can of paint. Marcella ran to her doll. Oily white house paint covered Raggedy Ann's yarn hair and her shoe button eyes. It covered her pretty blue dress and her striped stockings. It soaked into her cotton stuffing. Poor Raggedy Ann. But she had a heart. She wanted to do it, right?
And she did. She went in head first.
And head first. Yeah. Oh, I hope she's going to be okay. I hope the little girl who owns her is going to be okay. Let's see.
She's not too sad.
Let's see what happens.
Okay. Let's see what happens. The nice painter who liked Raggedy Ann fished her out of the paint can. "My goodness," he said. He looked at Marcella. "If you let me, I'll take her home with me. I'll clean her up tonight and bring her back." Marcella nodded. She was too upset to speak. The painter wrapped Raggedy Ann in newspaper. Then he brought her home and washed her in a tub. Well, there's hope for Raggedy Ann.
There is hope for Raggedy Ann. Allowing Calgon to take her away. Calgon makes it all better.
It does.
Or Epsom salt. He put her feet in the clothes wringer and his wife turned the crank. It was hard work, but Raggedy Ann came through the clothes wringer. She was as flat as a pancake, and so was her smile. I want our boys and girls to see this wringer. This is how they used to wash clothes.
A long time ago.
A long time ago.
Before my time.
A long, long time ago. The painter hung Raggedy Ann on the clothesline, and he and his wife sat down to supper. The clothesline is also something else that's kind of dated.
No, that's in my time.
That's in
My
your time.
parents.
I used to love the way my clothes smelled when my grandma had hung them out on the clothesline. The fresh air, the fresh breeze. Let's see if Raggedy Ann gets better.
Yay. Okay. Oh boy. Raggedy Ann swung upside down on the clothesline. Even after the sun went down, it was still warm outside. She wasn't lonely because the moon and the stars kept her company. Just before dawn, a robin and his wife flew by. They asked Raggedy Ann if they could have some of her yarn hair to line a nest for their little babies. Raggedy Ann smiled at them. They took yarn from her head and some of her cotton stuffing. Oh no. She was very generous.
She is. When the sun was all the way up and Raggedy Ann was quite dry and toasty warm, the painter unclipped her from the clothesline and brought her back inside. He sewed new yarn in her hair, then he took out the rest of her old stuffing and filled her full of fluffy new white cotton. "Don't sew her up yet," said his wife. She pulled a paper bag from a cupboard, reached inside, and fished out a red candy heart. It had blue letters printed on it, and it said, "I love you." That is, you know what this reminds me of?
What did
You have a Build-A-Bear?
My daughter did. Yeah.
Your daughter did? Yeah, I love Build-A-Bear. It's kind of like Build-A-Bear. You know, Build-A-Bear builds the heart inside the dolls.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they got the idea from this book.
I'm sure they did.
The painter took the heart from his wife. He poked it inside Raggedy Ann, just where her heart would be, and sewed her up like new. Then he said goodbye to his wife and went back to finish painting Marcella's house. Marcella and the dolls had passed a sad night. They missed their friend, and they wondered if they would see her again. That was sweet that the man actually sewed the heart in the doll.
Yes, it is. Let's see what happens. When the painter arrived, they were waiting under the apple tree. "Here she is," said the painter, "fresh as a daisy." Marcella hugged Raggedy Ann. She smelled so good. She was so happy to see her Raggedy Ann. She was all brand new.
Oh, sweet.
And she smelled good. Bet she didn't smell like that oily paint.
Not at all. Thank you. Oh, boy. That night, all the dolls arranged themselves around Raggedy Ann in the nursery, and she told them about being washed and put through the clothes wringer. She told them about Mama and Papa Robin and about being dried and stuffed and made just like new. Last of all, she told them all about the candy heart that read, "I love you."
What do you think about that story, Miss Lois?
I thought it was a very sweet, sweet story.
Well, I like the fact that no matter how scarred you are, you can always bounce back from it. I think it speaks about resilience.
It does.
It speaks about resiliency. It also speaks about friendships. Because no matter how scarred you are and how many injuries you've sustained, your friends are always there to support.
Always there, good or bad.
Just like we're here to support our children.
Yes.
Through these trying times, we're here to support them. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for reading with me and to our children. I hope you had fun. Did you have fun?
I had lots of fun, and I want to thank you for inviting me and being able to read to all the little children out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I hope you decide to come back.
I will. I'll definitely come back.
Maybe we can send you through the ringer and sew you back up and stuff you with some new cotton.
There
You
you
don't
go.
need to be very sewn. And so to our viewers, thank you for joining us for another evening of Reading with the Superintendent, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you, Miss Lois, and thank you to our viewers. Have a good evening.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you. Just like Raggedy Ann's candy heart.
I love pizza.